Hello, my name is Cindy, and I help companies adapt AI and technology, helping build the tools needed for your digital toolbox. In this video, we're going to go through how to create a subcontractor invoice inside Procore. Just to review, I have some contracts here. I'm going to have my subcontractor bill on a monthly basis. First off, if you have not set up your invoicing tool yet, and if I wanted to create an invoice, it's not going to let me do that. It says project must have an open billing period to create an invoice. My billing periods have not been set up yet. If it's your first month invoicing, you want to make sure that you have your billing period set up. How you're able to set up your billing period is inside the invoicing tool. Click on Invoicing. I'm in my Project Tools Invoicing. There are no items to display, but I need to set up my billing periods. Right now, there are no billing periods that are open. I'm going to go ahead and create a billing period. Your first month, you're going to want to create it manually. This is the period that your trade partners are going to be billing for. This due date allows them to bill on time, because if it's past that due date, they're going to have to ask you to open up the billing period again, so then they could invoice. For this period, I'm going to manually create it, and now my billing period is open. If you are billing on a monthly basis, if you need your trade partners to bill on a monthly basis, you can set up automatic billing periods. You can set it up on a monthly basis or by date. Start the first of this month, and I've set up my billing period for a monthly basis with a start date of the 1st, end date on the 31st, due date 10th of next month. Now that I have an open billing period, if I go to my subcontractor, now that I have my billing period set up and it's open, I have the ability to send an invite to my trade partners to be able to invoice. I have 4 contracts, 1 not invited, and there's also another status here that says no invoice contacts. That's because on the commitment, there is no invoice contact. And let me show you that. I have a side-by-side. On the left-hand side is your invoicing tool. On the right-hand side is my commitments tool. I'm inside this Ravenclaw Renovators contract. Even though the status is approved, I have no invoice contacts down below. Because I don't have an invoice contact, that's why I can't send an invite for them to invoice. There's no one there. Now let's look at another contract. If I go into my Slytherin contract, if I scroll down below, I have an invoice contact for Sid, which is why I can now send an invite for them to bill. I could do work and materials, retainage release, or have the option for them to bill on work, materials, and retainage. Right now, because work just started, I'm going to be sending them an invite to invoice on work and materials. I have invited them to invoice. Once invited, this is what the trade partner sees to say, do you want to bill this period? Yes or no. They click on yes. It takes them directly to their Procore. They have the ability to see and add in the invoice. As a trade partner, they have the ability to create an invoice. They have the ability to edit and put in a percentage, which will show up here. It'll automatically calculate the work completed this period, or put in a whole number. Attach any files, like the backup or the invoice. Because the retainage was set up on the commitment, it's also calculated here. As a trade partner, now they can send the invoice to be approved. Now they can save it as draft or send it over for approval. Now that the invoice has been drafted, they can save it as draft or send it out for approval. Once a trade partner has sent the invoice for review. The status is now under review. Note here is that they can no longer update the invoice because now it's in your court. Something to note is that as a collaborator, if the collaborator is set up as an invoice contact, they have the ability to see only their commitments, especially since that private is checked. Notice the different views. On the left-hand side, that's the trade partner, that's the collaborator, and on the right-hand side, that is the project manager. Because this contract has an invoice contact and is private, this allows only the invoice contact to be able to see their own commitments. Now, let's go back to the project manager view. They have the ability to see all of the invoices that are under review as well as the statuses. As a project manager, I can look at the invoice, click on edit to be able to approve or reject the line items that I do not want to see while I'm approving. I could go into this configure and delete some of the columns I may not need. I can also pin items. So if I wanted to pin items to the left or pin items to the right, it allows me to easily look at the specific columns I want to see to approve or reject. If I wanted to approve this line item, but reject here, it allows you to add in a number. It gives me a reason why I am rejecting this. Go ahead and re-add that. Once I do that, I can save it or save and change status. Because I'm rejecting this one line item, I could go ahead and save the status and change this from under review to revise and resubmit. Once I revise and resubmit, it kicks it back to my collaborator, my trade partner, for then to look at my notes. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now the status is revised and resubmit. Once I've updated the status, the trade partner has now received an email saying that the invoice has now been updated. Action required, please review this invoice. I'm going to go to my Procore account, see that the invoice status has now been revised and resubmitted, what line item has been approved, and what line item has not. Now I'm going to edit, update my number, save it back. The status is now under review. Now let's go back. Let's go back to my project management view. The invoice status is now under review. I did reject this one, but now I'm going to go ahead and approve this. After they've updated this number, I'm going to go ahead and save the status and approve. Now that this invoice has been approved, it will go through processing to get paid. Invoices can be seen here in the Invoicing tab now that this is approved. But if you wanted to look at the contract, if you also wanted to look at the invoices on the contract, they will also show up in your project tools under your commitments. What if I don't want my collaborators inside the system? If you do not want your collaborators inside the system, or you do get an email or a snail mail or an owl mail inside and you get an invoice that you want to submit in the system, so then you can have that on record, you have the ability to do it on their behalf as well. This is the second option to be able to submit an invoice inside the system. Doing that, you can go to the commitment, create an invoice, put in the information, attach the file, the information here, attach the files, and save it. Instead of going back and forth, if the invoice is going to get approved, you can go ahead and approve this. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and approve that, put in any overall comments, and save that here. I can see the invoices for this contract under the Invoicing tab, or if I wanted to see all of the invoices on the project, I'll go to financial management and invoicing, and I can see that there are 2 approved invoices. Just like the other tables inside the financial tools, you have the ability to configure your columns. So if there are columns you don't want to see, you can do that. You can also pin items or create filters. These tiles up here will also show what's under review versus what's improved and revised and resubmit for easier management. That was an overview on how to create an invoice. One through the collaborator, through the trade partner subcontractor, and the other one is submitting an invoice on their behalf. Please reach out if you have any questions, and like and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks. Bye.